everyone, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. I'm Pants Without Pockets, and I've been wanting to play this game for a while, but I never really got around to it. So let's get right started. I plan to play through the whole game, and yeah, let's go. My audio is on. Alright, fair enough.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011.
Alright.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Oh, okay, evacuate immediately.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more
generic
games you'll see from
Where'd I go? Okay. The gun's really quiet, by the way. Okay, where'd I go? I'll just go through here, I guess. Oh no. Can I not get out?
It kind of looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually
I'm actually stuck in the mood now.
And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not. Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
Alright. Oh,
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Bottom of the universe. Lovely. Nice little spaceship.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's
Why?
really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so
Is
in
there
the
a
interest
labyrinth
of time,
on a
I'm
space
just gonna
station?
skip you on past it.
Oh, okay, thanks, I guess. Whisk machine,
Okay,
so
this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Alright. This is the whisper machine here.
You there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Would you give yourself?
Sure. I will. Oh,
Let
I'm
me
dead.
pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Okay. Oh. Uh-oh. Okay then. I'm floating in space. I'm just going up and up and up and up and up.
The beam
Okay.
causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes,
That's the whole
this
map.
is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Alright. The past was behind her. Okay.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Only walk backwards? Oh, wow. These are really stupid games. What was Coda thinking? What the hell? But the future could
So
not
it's
be
a short
seen.
and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
Oh, okay.
It is less advanced than the previous
Why does the
game, but
future keep
actually it seems
changing?
to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. Oh shit, went the wrong way. I need to go this way. Would be helpful if I could walk forwards. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find her strength? I don't know. How will she find her strength? To confront it all. What happened to the door?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
So is Coda a real game developer, or is he just made up for this game? Okay, so it's just all blackness. You're now entering... Entering what? Oh god.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear
What?
just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll
That
see
was
what makes it
pointless.
interesting.
Nonsense
Oftentimes,
in
Coda
nearly
would
every
put bizarre
direction.
titles like this one at the start of his games.
Alright,
I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
oh no.
Once
Oh.
you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to
Right.
show you, I'm modifying the game here so that
can
when
get
you
up
press
quicker.
enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Cool. Thank you. I want to wait for ages just to climb up the door. Stand on an X staring at a bear for 3 hours. Wait, what? Game where you collect items, except the game automatically quits when you collect them all. Game with only motivational quotes played one after the other while you play cannot move. You play as a loud
and
bodiless
nice
sound walking
and
around
filled with
confusing
little
people. You start
ideas
in a
for games.
small room until you realise you can just walk through the walls.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant
Stranger
and
if he is.
compassionate person.
You run
that it
a
takes
shop
time
inside
to
your
really
own body,
see that.
selling organs regularly to make
It
the
can
money
be a
before
very
you
slow
die.
climb to get there.
Okay, now what? Okay. Ready, set, fish. Oh, it's a fishing game. No? What? Okay then. What is it now?
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Okay. Puzzle. What's going on down here? Do what I need to do? Oh.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Right. What's this? Nothing. What are these orange grids? Nothing. Okay then. That's it.
So that seems to be it, right?
Oh.
You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Oh. Okay then.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I don't know. Oh, back at this again. What if I go in the other direction? Oh, I can't do that. Damn it! You are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Alright. The Great and Lovely Descent. So maybe these games are telling a story here or something.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
It's a nice looking cafe.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Oh, so
Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors.
Ooh.
That's why so many of Coda's games are set
I
in
just
these
fell off the
large,
edge.
flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Alright.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice
So
how they
it's just
seem
a
to stem
light.
from an engine that's very good at
But it's not
producing
shining or
linear,
anything.
boxy corridors.
Mm-hmm. It's starting to look all very Portal-like, isn't it? Whoa. So like floating there. Am I in a more saddle space now? Can I jump over this? No? Okay. Can I get out of here? Ooh, what's going on? Okay. Okay.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Yeah. Oh.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Well then. A swing. Interesting. What's going on with this music? Oh,
It's
this
the puzzle
again.
again, with the exact same solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Ah. Wasn't shiny this area. What's out here? Clouds. That's it. Just clouds. 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 Listen. You there? Did you come from
Here,
above?
Coda
What was up
begins
there?
using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use
Yes,
the
there
1,
was a
2,
world
3
stained
buttons
with
on your
witness,
keyboard to
whiners. Yes,
respond.
there was an enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were floating coloured blocks. 3. Yes, there were floating coloured blocks. That's the world. Why have you been there? Now, this is important. Did you have to get every puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through any puzzle. Prefer not to tell you after we've only just met. Again, perfect. Now, please tell us. How do you solve it? Tell us the solution. Tell us you get outside. I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone does let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. You must think harder, please. Try harder to remember. So important. Now we must get out of here. We must escape this prison. Can you think harder? There must be more. Something more. Please tell us how to reach the end. What's going on? What are these people with these green blocks on them? I'm back in the same room again. I've been right here since this entire time. So I you go and see the puzzle sometimes. It's not meant to be solved, but you can't. You can see it in the black space in the middle. while or sit in the black space. Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you'll come to think of so in time eventually. Or black space in the middle. Okay then. If you insist.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Ooh, this is a nice place. It's actually really nice for a prison
It's a
courtyard.
lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind
Hope
them.
so.
And as we go, that idea will get clearer.
So weird, it's like so
and clearer.
dreamscape. Can we move on to the next game now? Oh, yeah. Here we go.